All right, I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works this Tuesday, November 9th of 2021. First up, we have messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board this evening?
I do, just a quick one. This is leaf season. The leaves aren't cooperating, but just remember that when you start raking your leaves, do not put them into the street, keep them on the curb. This is to everyone. And to the crews that are on the pickup, stay safe, and I hope this happens all soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Beth. Next up, we have petitions and remonstrances. If anyone here would like to make a public comment about something that is not on the agenda this evening, now is the opportunity to do so. Do we have anyone who would like to make a public comment about something not on the agenda? You can either use the raise hand function or type in the chat to let us know.
I do not see anything, Kyla.
Thank you. Next up, we have the consent agenda. We have several items on the consent agenda, so please bear with me while I read through them all. First up is approval of minutes for October 26th of 2021. We have resolution 2021-60, declaration of surplus property from BPD. 2022 service agreement with B&L Sheet Metal and Roofing for Public Works Facilities. 2022 service agreement with Bounds Flooring for Public Works Facilities. 2022 service agreement with Bruce Home Improvements for Public Works Facilities. 2022 service agreement with Cassidy Electrical Contractors, Inc. for Public Works Facilities. 2022 service agreement with City Lawn for Public Works Facilities. 2022 service agreement with Commercial Service for Public Works Facilities. 2022 service agreement with Ancris for Public Works Facilities. 2022 service agreement with Economy Termite and Pest Control for Public Works Facilities. 2022 service agreement with Everywhere Signs for Public Works Facilities. 2022 service agreement with Fish Window, also known as Fotizo LLC for Public Works Facilities. 2022 service agreement with Harold Fish Inc. HVAC for Public Works Facilities. 2022 service agreement with Harold Fish Inc. Plumbing for Public Works Facilities. Addendum number 2 to 2021 Ancris service agreement for parking garages. Addendum number 2 to 2021 Evans Time service agreement. Addendum number 2 to 2021 Parker Services service agreement with Evans Time to include 4th Street Garage. 2022 service agreement with Ancris for parking garages. 2022 service agreement with Parker Technology for parking garages. 2022 service agreement with CE Solutions for Walnut Street Garage Repair Project. 2022 service agreement with Evans Time for Parks Equipment. That's PARCS equipment. Addendum number 1 to service agreement with Broomer Construction. Addendum number 1 to service agreement with Precision Concrete. Renewal number 2 with Milestone Contractors LP for asphalt materials. Resolution 2021-63 Freeze Fest, and approval of payroll. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? Hearing none. Do we have any public comment on anything within the consent agenda?
Nope, I don't see anything. I feel like I need to be the trainer on the side of the football field that runs over with the oxygen tank after that, that marathon list.
Take a deep breath.
And just a note for the public, I will mention this, Adam Wason, Public Works Director. The reason we've got so many of these items on the consent agenda today has to do with coming towards end of year. So we're wrapping up current year contracts with some small addendums and then getting service contracts ready for 2022. We've got some upcoming staff absences, so we were trying to get a lot of this kind of front loaded this evening. So yeah, I appreciate you getting through all of that, Kyla.
Me too. Thank you.
All right, well, if we have no public comment on the items within the consent agenda, I will call for a motion on the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
And I second. I will call a roll call vote. Beth Hollingsworth?
Yes.
Kyla Cox Deckard, yes. Motion passes. Next up, under new business, we have revised amendment number 2 to LPA consulting contract with Mueller Group for the 17th Street Monroe to Grant Multimodal Improvements Project.
Good evening. This is Neil Copper with the engineering department. This is a project to construct multi-use path on the north side of 17th Street from Monroe Street to Grant Street. Also replaces the traffic signal at the intersection of 17th Street and Madison/Kinzer Pike, and provides other multimodal safety improvements within the corridor. Mueller Group is currently under contract for preliminary engineering services. This addendum adds services for phase 2 environmental site assessments. It also decreases the subsurface utility engineering fees such that the total contract not to exceed amount of $839,745 remains unchanged. Note that this amendment was previously seen by the board and approved on October 12th of this year with the fee amount that had to be updated. So the original amendment was not fully executed, and this is a revised amendment to take its place. Staff has reviewed and supports the amendment, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
I don't have a question. No.
Any public comment on this item?
I don't see anything in the chat, and I don't see any raised hands.
Thank you. Do we have a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the revised amendment number 2 to LPA consulting contract with Mueller Group for the 17th Street Monroe to Grant Multimodal Improvement Project.
And I second. I will call for a roll call vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Kyla Cox-Deckard, yes. Motion passes. Next up, we have request for right-of-way use for dumpster placement by Property Sure Construction.
Hi, everyone. This is Emily Herr with Engineering. Property Sure Construction is requesting to use 2 metered parking spaces for dumpster storage between the date of board approval with a completion date of no later than 11/23/21. The contractor is performing interior work at 106 West 6th Street. This extension requires Board of Public Works approval since it exceeds 14 days total. The contractor has already paid for the original permit and will pay for the requested extension through the controller's office if approved. It was also requested to find out if there were any complaints about the current dumpster. And I checked with parking enforcement and they have not received any complaints. I'm happy to answer any questions, and Eliza Gazelle with Property Sure Construction is also present.
Thanks. Any questions from the board on that item?
No question.
Any public comment on this item?
I don't see anything.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request for right-of-way use for dumpster placement by Property Sure Construction.
And I second. I will do a roll call vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Kyla Cox-Deckard, yes. Motion passes. Next up, we have resolution 2021-61, encroachment in the public right-of-way at the Bentley.
Hi, this is Emily Herr again with Engineering. Bailey 8 LLC is requesting approval to encroach into the right-of-way with fabric awnings, the building canopy, and bicycle racks associated with a new development at 650 North College Avenue called the Bentley. The fabric awnings encroach into the right-of-way along East 11th Street and North College Avenue, and the building canopy and bicycle racks encroach into the right-of-way along North College Avenue. I'm happy to answer any questions, and Zach Bodie with Studio 3 Design is also present to answer questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Maybe you said yesterday, I mean, how many bike racks will be installed?
There are 3, and there are two bicycles can fit per rack.
Okay, thank you.
Any public comment on this item?
Don't see anything.
Is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve resolution 2021-61, encroachment into right-of-way at the Bentley.
And I second. I will call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Kyla Cox-Deckard, yes. Motion passes. Next up is supplement number 1 for the construction inspection agreement with Crossroad Engineers PC on the 7th Street Protected Bike Lane project.
Good evening. This is Roy Aiton with the City Engineering Department. On November 24th, 2020, the board awarded construction inspection contract for the 7th Street Protected Bike Lane project to Crossroad Engineer PC in the amount of $233,600. Due to an unforeseen change in the project as a result of a failing storm structure, the timeline for the project had been extended for 2 weeks. This supplement number 1 to the agreement will cover the cost of additional inspection services for the 2 weeks. This supplement will add $10,000 in additional services to the contract for a final maximum of not to exceed $243,600. And funding for this project is being provided by our 2018 Bicentennial Bond Series B. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
No.
Any public comment on this item?
Don't see anything.
Is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve supplement number 1 for the construction inspection agreement with Crossroads Engineer PC on the 7th Street Protected Bike Lane project.
And I second. I'll call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Kyla Cox-Deckard, yes. Motion passes. Next up, we have change order number 4 for the 7th Street Protected Bike Lane project with Milestone Contractors LP.
Once again, this is Roy Aiton with City Engineering. This is once again our 7th Street project. This project was awarded on May 11, 2021 to Milestone Contractors. The notice to proceed was issued this spring and work started in April. This contract included the installation of the protected bike lane along 7th Street from the Beeline Trail to North Woodlawn Avenue. The original contract amount was $2,569,500, and change orders 1 and 3 were approved by the board at their October 12th meeting. Change order 4 will add $37,463.04 and will cover the cost of replacing a failed storm sewer culvert at the intersection of 7th and Morton. Additionally, this change order will adjust the contract completion date to November 5th, 2021 by adding an additional 15 days. Upon approval, the final contract amount will be $2,609,518.73. And funding once again for this project is being brought by the 2018 Bicentennial Bond Series B, along with a $150,000 contribution by the City of Bloomington Utilities Department. I'm available for any questions.
Thanks. Questions from the board?
No.
I do have a question. So this culvert, is this considered a public works or utilities expense?
There was a negotiation that went on between us. Utilities has $150,000 that they've contributed to the project for the rain gardens. Not all of that money was used in the rain gardens. Some of that money is being used for this change order as well. So they are sharing some of the cost with it.
Okay, that makes sense. And was the cost of this repair in line with what you would anticipate for something like this had it been planned?
Yes, I would say that it did come in what they had planned. Milestone, there was some negotiation back and forth with Milestone about the price of it, but we got it down to a price that we think it would have cost if we knew that this existed prior to bidding.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board?
No.
And any public comment on this item?
I don't see any.
Is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve change order number 4 for the 7th Street Protected Bike Lane project with Milestone Contractors LP.
And I second. I will call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Kyla Cox-Deckard, yes. Motion passes. Next up is change order number 5 for the 7th Street Protected Bike Lane project with Milestone Contractors LP.
And this is Roy Ayton with City Engineering. And this is our same 7th Street project and the same contract with Milestone. This is change order number 5, and it will add $1,625.68. And it will cover the cost of additional safety signage and flags that were placed along the project. Upon approval, the final contract amount will be a not to exceed $2,611,144.41. And the funding is the same through the 2018 Bicentennial Bond Series B and a contribution from City of Bloomington Utilities Department.
Thank you. Any questions from the board on this item?
Roy, are these the final change orders 4 and 5? Do you think they're final?
No, there will be more coming our way. We're still negotiating on change order number 2, so we've skipped that number. I know that we'll have a change order for the final quantities after they're placed. We're still waiting for street trees to be planted on the project. So it'll be a few weeks before we have those final numbers and we can bring the final change order to the board.
But the bike lane project is almost complete and will be finished soon.
Yeah, we've reached substantial completion. We punch walked the job this week, and Milestone will be over the next 10 days repairing a few small items. And then we're planning on having a ribbon cutting. I believe it's the 17th of November to open the project.
Okay, thank you. That would be nice. Nice to have it done.
On the signage, I just don't remember, has there been like permanent signage put in place, or right now are we just dealing with the temporary like flagging and signage?
Yeah, so this change order here is for the additional signage that we added to the intersections that we had removed stop signs. The removal of the stop signs are permanent. Then we added to the remaining stop signs, the cross traffic will not stop. And then we also added some flags to the stop signs. So that's what this change order is, just for that additional signage. That additional signage will be temporary. And when the engineer is comfortable with it, we'll go ahead and have that removed. And it'll just be the regular signage that's out there.
But Kyla, I think you're asking, like the pavement markings, the additional signage at Walnut and College with the bike lane, signal indicators, things like that. Roy, correct me if I'm wrong, all of the permanent signage has been placed as well as the permanent pavement markings, correct?
Yes, so we have placed all the permanent signs in front of the pavement. Some of the items on the punch list are signage, so some of them are getting still removed. There's a couple signs that they forgot.
As far as like old parking signs, things like that. Yeah.
Yep. But for the most part, the most of the signage has been completed at this time.
Thank you. Any public comment on this item?
I don't see anything.
All right, do we have a motion on this item?
I move that we approve change order number 5 for the 7th Street Protected Bike Lane project with Milestone Contractors LP.
And I second. I will call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Kyla Cox-Deckard, yes. Motion passes. Next up is lane closure request from E&B Paving for North Hedley Road, November 15th, 2021 through July 6th of 2022.
Good evening. This is Paul Kerber with engineering. The City of Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department has awarded a construction contract to E&B Paving. This is to complete a project along North Hedley Road and the Causeway. They will be stabilizing the shoreline, constructing a sidewalk along the west side of the street, installing a raised crosswalk, and also constructing an accessible fishing pier. This project will also connect the north and south ends of the lake via the sidewalk. We've been working closely with the design firm and then also Parks and Rec to come up with the safest maintenance of traffic plan for them to complete this project. And as part of that, the safest option is to close the southbound lane for the duration of the project. So Hedley Road will be one-way northbound, and the actual, firm closure for that will be at the top of the hill back away from the lake on either end, so there will be good visibility for it. And the closure will be from November 15th, 2021 to July 6th, 2022, and there will be a signed detour in place for the southbound traffic. Are there any questions?
Paul, do you feel that the signage is adequate? Because it's a very narrow, winding, hilly road. I'm really concerned about the safety of that road.
Yes, yeah, there will be adequate signage. Where the closures will be in the long straightaways before you get to those curves before you drop down the hills.
Okay. I noticed that a letter went to the residents on November 10th. Have you had any response to the letter from residents in the area?
I have not heard anything.
Thank you.
Will this detour be 24 hours a day? Like the closure will just stay in place for the duration?
Yes, it will. Yep.
What is the, and I apologize if it's marked on the document, I don't have it up in front of me right now, but what is the distance of the detour?
That I'm not exactly sure. I mean, with how long Hedley Road is, I'm guessing it's probably close to a mile or two to get all the way around there. It's the only available street, more or less, because of the lake, though.
Mm-hmm.
It'll come back Old 37 to North Walnut and back to the bypass.
Yes, I have that map. It's a pretty big stretch around there.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. This is Adam Wason. We've worked extensively. I think my first meeting on this topic was over 2 or 3 months ago with the engineering team and the parks team trying to think about what the best way to go about this was. And so I can tell you a lot of thought and effort was put into trying to figure out, what is the best solution here, knowing that what a good solution was, knowing there wasn't a best solution for the residents there north of the causeway / bridge in particular. So, it's about, I just traveled this weekend. It's probably about 6 or 7 minutes. If you lived on the north side of the causeway there, it's gonna, and you needed to get back to say 46 in the bypass. It's gonna be a good 12-14 minute addition to that, but for the inbound, by the time you get back to Old 37 down to the bypass and back over towards Hedley Road / Fee Lane there. So understanding it was going to have an impact, but given that there were no perfect options, I do appreciate all the effort staff put into that. I know Steve Cotter and Tim Street with Parks and many others were involved in trying to identify this. So I do say thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you, Adam.
All right.
Paul, just real quick, Paul, you said we did not get any feedback from residents from the letters that were solicited.
Correct. I have not heard anything one way or another. So.
Steve, did you and Parks hear anything?
I have not heard anything yet. Tim Street has a conflict this evening, so he's not able to join us, at least not yet. So I'm not sure if Tim's heard anything.
I know we haven't gotten anything here at Public Works, and it was published for the meeting tonight. So, all right, thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Any public comment on this item?
I don't see anything.
Is there a motion?
I move approval of lane closure request from E&B Paving for North Hedley Road, November 15th, 2021 through July 6th, 2022.
And I second. I will call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Kyla Cox-Deckard, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next up is addendum number 1 to LPA consulting contract with VS Engineering for the First Street reconstruction project from Fairview Street to College Avenue.
Hi, Patrick Burgess with the engineering department. This project will reconstruct West First Street between Fairview Street and College Ave. The work may extend west as far as Patterson Drive, as far east as Walnut Street, depending on detailed design and cost estimates. The project will include full roadway reconstruction, replacement of underground utilities, replacement of the traffic signal at South College and First Street intersection. The project is programmed through the MPO and is in the TIP for approximately $2.9 million. The original design contract included right-of-way engineering services, but excluded right-of-way acquisition services because it was initially assumed only right-of-way from IU Health would be required. After preliminary design, the roadway grading is more significant than initially expected, resulting in the need for temporary right-of-way from 6 parcels. The addendum includes the property appraisals, review appraisals, and appraisal problem analysis. Additional right-of-way acquisition services will be required, and an addendum for those services will be presented after the project environmental approval. The addendum for the 6 parcel services is $8,070, and it will make the contract amount, the new contract amount, not to exceed $729,029.03. I am on the schedule for, this is funded through the RDC. I'm on the schedule for the RDC for their Monday 11:15 meeting. And the approval of this is pending approval of RDC funding. Available for any questions.
Questions from the board?
Patrick, when will you know about the additional part of the, or maybe the extension from Patterson to Walnut Street? When will that come to play in the contract?
So I realized as I read this that I should have at least pulled out the Patterson. I should have said Walker instead. The crossing over the creek, from our very quick look at it, proved to be a significant cost to the project. And so we're actually, we're focused on the main stretch, which will be basically a little bit west of Fairview and definitely down to College. And then as our design progresses and we get all the utility infrastructure replacements and price that all out, I expect the project may extend or correct sidewalk further west down to Walker, but we're definitely not going to extend over onto Patterson anymore. That should have been edited.
That should have been, okay, it should be out of there. That's kind of tricky in there with the creek, you're right. Thank you.
No problem.
Any public comment on this item?
I don't see anything.
Is there a motion?
I move approval of addendum number 1 to LPA consulting contract with VS Engineering for the First Street reconstruction project from Fairview Street to College Avenue.
And I second. I will call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Kyla Cox-Deckard, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have contract with Evans Time for My Park Online and Opus Pro Plus software purchase and installation.
Good evening, Ryan Daly, Public Works Parking Services. Parking Services is proposing to purchase the My Park Online cardholder account management system and add that to our parking suite. This feature is going to allow online sign up of parking passes and account management by parking card holders. Customers are going to be able to sign up directly online. This is going, My Park services will, My Park will directly interface with our current card access system and revenue suite to allow auto monthly charges and direct monthly payments of parking fees by the card holders that we have. The total cost of that is $12,113.07. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks. Questions from the board?
When do you hope to have this installed and up and running?
We're going to be installing here in the next few months, and we're going to be running beta tests in January and February, and then proceeding to migrate our current database over to the new one throughout the next few months in 2022.
So early next year. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any public comment on this item?
I see no raised hands and I see nothing in the chat.
All right. Is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the contract with Evans Time for My Park Online and Opus Pro Plus software purchase and installation.
And I second. I will call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Kyla Cox-Deckard, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, we have agreement with Central Square Lucity for GIS mapping functionality.
All right, Adam Waston here for Nate Nickel in the Public Works Department. Lucity is our asset management system that we utilize for the street department, our facilities division, amongst other uses, as well as fleet maintenance. Lots of functionality across all those divisions. This is for, it will allow city staff to synchronize the functionality there with the city's GIS mapping component. And it allows for us to do some real-time updates in the field. This will include all GIS licensing fees, a system audit and setup, and then the first year service maintenance fees, as well as system synchronization and staff training. So this will be a nice upgrade and use within our asset management system that we're greatly looking forward to. So happy to answer any questions and appreciate your support.
Thanks. Questions from the board?
No.
All right. Any public comment on this item?
I don't see anything.
All right. Is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the agreement with Central Square Lucity for GIS mapping functionality.
And I second. I will call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth,
Yes.
Kyla Cox-Deckard, yes. Motion passes. Next up is staff reports and other business.
Nothing to report today for staff reports.
Thanks. Then we will move along to claims. Any questions or comments on claims?
Not this evening.
Okay. Any public comment on anything within the claims?
I have lost the chat box somehow, but I don't see it.
I don't see anything.
All right, great, thanks.
Okay. Is there a motion on claims?
I move approval of claim $626,253.09.
And I second. I will call for a vote. Beth Hollingsworth?
Yes.
And Kyla Cox-Deckard, yes. Motion passes. And if there is nothing else for this evening, I will call for adjournment.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yep,
See you
thank
soon.
you. Take care.
Thanks. Bye. you.